Welcome to Meeple, uniting players from around the world. A 30-minute exploration of PJ and Gareth's board game experiences from across both sides of the Atlantic. Each week, they will share with you their thoughts and opinions on everything from their favorite board games, themes, hot topics, and much, much more. Thank you for listening in. Hey, and welcome, and I am PJ.
And I'm Gareth.
And you are listening to episode 24, 2023, A Look Ahead. Gareth, how are you?
I'm doing well. We're here again.
Yeah.
And this time, we're not looking back, we're looking forward. What games, events, and various... Who knows what 2023 is going to bring? I'm not even going to try to guess based on the last couple of years. But one thing is for sure, the never-ending onslaught of new game releases and kickstarters will no doubt continue. And I think we're going to talk about... I've got games which I generally wanted last year that we're going to get this year. I haven't really got my finger on the pulse of newness. Now, I've got a couple to talk about, but it's really what things I'm looking forward to arriving in the post. I think we're going to do today. Yeah,
and I'm cool with that. I think that it's not so much. I've seen a lot of people on Instagram recently. They've been talking about games they're looking forward to that will be coming out this year, right?
Yeah,
and I don't think that that's entirely our purpose for this conversation. What are you looking forward to? And you just said you had a list, so give us a rundown of some of the games that you're looking forward to playing this year, 2023.
So I decided to start with the old Kickstarter, and then I logged on to Board Game Geek, where I generally keep all my pre-order stuff as well. So what surprised me was there's 4 or 5 games that I backed maybe last year, maybe the year before. We've lost track. But what I have got is
sooner,
maybe even further back. But what I did notice is that I've got a lot of expansions for games that I already own. But let's start with games that I am looking forward to. So I've picked 3. So one is shipping at this point, and that's Oros, and the Oros, which when it was on Kickstarter, I interviewed the designer, I guess publisher as well. And the game reminds me so much of a computer game back in the 90s called Populous. It's this tile movement, the artwork. Do you remember Populous? We'll be showing our age now to some of our listeners.
Yeah.
But it was one of my...
I remember that, yes.
I think it was Bullfrog Games. I'm now stretching my knowledge. Was it Bullfrog?
I think, yeah.
Is it? But it was
I think so.
Yeah, it was honestly, brilliant game. Then they released Powermonger, which was the second game, but let's not get into that. So that's high on my list. I remember being fascinated by the art, by the way the tiles slide across the board, and it's shipping at this point. So we can talk about that in coming weeks. The other 2 that jumped out was a game called Beast, which, if anyone remembers, I was a huge supporter of during the Kickstarter campaign.
If memory serves, you had the creators or the designers on.
Yeah, Aaron, and now my brain's going to get me out. But yeah, we had the designers on. I think I had the first copy before I actually had the copy before they did off the production run.
Wow.
And that is shipping. They've had a lot of lessons learned on the Kickstarter, but it's those somebody's hidden. So one person's the beast, everyone else is hunters looking for them. So it's kind of a deduction game. I love those sort of games. It looks beautiful. I love the theme, the way the game plays, and that will be hitting our shelves, I don't know, probably 6 to 8 weeks. If it's shipping at this point, we'll wait and see. And the other one that, again, I recently had the privilege of meeting the designer in London was Bantam West. So they're all Kickstarters from either last year or before. Bantam West is based on, I say Wild West. It's not quite the Wild West, where it's live board game. I mean, you're all doing your own stuff. You've got your own, each character is unique. You're doing your own thing. If you just want to go mine and chop wood in the forest, go do that stuff. But you've got to score points. Or you want to run around shooting people with shotguns and hunting them down and capturing beasts. It's that kind of open world, Red Dead Redemption kind of thing, but in a board game. And every time I play it, I just make stories. And and there's many stories to be told, and I look forward to that arriving at some point, probably by the summer. So those are the three that jumped out at the top of my list. How about you?
Yeah. So we've got several, like you, several Kickstarters that we're waiting on. The first one, which we know confirmed, is on a ship, and that's Distilled. You're going to run a distillery, and trying to just make whiskey and be the best at it. A really good friend of mine from childhood back home in Louisiana came with us to Gen Con for his first Gen Con this past summer. He played Distilled. He got to play, so he didn't know much about it. He played the whole game. It was a full play, and he ended up purchasing a copy.
Wow!
And he'll have it delivered too.
Yeah.
So ours is on the way, and we're looking forward to that.
What sort of game is it? What's the mechanics? Is it worker placement or?
It's a little worker placement. It's a little pick up and deliver orders and things of that nature. But it's pretty cool. I think I don't know if it's tableau or tile placement, but in front of you building your distillery. I don't remember off the top of my head, but we're looking forward to it. Now the next one. I am not alone. Well, the group of people who share what I'm about to share with you is getting smaller, and that is Frosthaven.
I knew it. I knew that was going to be next. No, you're
totally
still waiting, are you?
So we've talked about, you and I have had casual conversations about Kickstarter companies manipulating people's FOMO to get them to purchase and back their projects. Well, I've backed the project. And I have FOMO because I'm watching everyone on the East Coast and the West Coast of the United States. They've got their copies, they're sharing them, the pictures, they're playing. Some people have already retired several characters.
No.
I'm like, yes, and I'm over here going, I just want my.
Is it shipping like left to right in, or sort of outside in on the US?
I don't know, because Katie tracks all that, right? She's the keeper of the Kickstarter. So she tells me when it's happening, and then I'm like, I jot it down, and she hasn't gotten a shipping notification yet. And, we were early to the,
it's got to be hubs. It's got to be hubs. Is anyone else in your state or anyone else have received it?
Not here. No one up in Chicago that I'm aware of. I think we know 2 or 3 people here in Springfield that have backed it, and obviously they haven't received their copies.
Well, that's good.
I just heard fulfillment has started in Australia, so I'm not jealous.
That's not going to help you.
No, but there it is. I'm waiting. So, and then this is you're going to appreciate this. Okay, so I was recently invited by Craig from Get Into Games to their Discord channel for Blood on the Clock Tower.
Nice.
And they're trying to get everyone together for this coming weekend to play online. So I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to give it a try. I have not watched anyone play it. I actually, other than the social deduction thing, I don't actually know what it's like to play. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, because I've stayed away from it. So I have no idea.
I'm going to send you a couple of links to just some, because I played with I think it's the same group the first time, and it just, no one told me anything. I assumed I knew how to play, I knew the concept, and I had a terrible 3 hours, which I've talked about before, because I died straight away. Didn't understand anything. Maybe I hadn't done the homework. But I think since then, there's a few videos that the publishers have released that talks you through the concept and kind of how the game works. Doesn't spoil anything too much. I'll send you a few bits, because once I played it in person, I love that game, and we're going to try and get another game in as a group, face to face. Online just makes it a bit more difficult, particularly if you're on your own. You're sat in a room, the other side of the Atlantic, and you haven't. Right.
To be fair, for our listeners, everyone involved in this, they're all in the UK.
Yeah, they're all UK based. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure they
They're
are.
a good group. It's a good group, so you'll be okay with a group. It's just
because you got Brad and you got Brad and Susie, and then Craig and Max and
Max and Eleanor.
Yeah. And Becky. They're all going to be in it, and I'm the lone guy over in the U.S. who's going to be like, yeah.
They'll look after you.
When we did the Halloween episode, you and I had an in-depth conversation about that type of game, trader mechanics, social deduction, and I was a little nervous. Craig got back to me and was like, why don't you give it a try? And I'm like, okay, I will. I'm going to trust y'all, and let's do it. So I am looking forward to that next weekend.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I have to keep myself busy because I don't have Frosthaven, so
you'll be okay. But those guys have played loads. I haven't played with Craig, so that'll be good. I think that's one of the games that I want to play more this year. As is Twilight Imperium, which we talked about last episode.
Yes,
I'm going to try and get at least, I'm going to say, 4 plays in, but we'll see how that looks like when we do our 2023 review next January.
Are you sure? Are you sure that are you prepared for Diz the Destroyer?
No, she's nothing to me.
You just got to watch your planetary defense systems.
Yeah,
right?
PDSs, they will always be they'll always be protected. I guess other games, or I guess expansions.
Right, you mentioned expansions this year, so
there's a lot of expansions. I'm going to rattle off the list. There's an expansion for Hidden Legends, which is a nice game that's in our top 10 from last year. Canvas. Don't know. Have you got Canvas? So there's the third expansion, Finishing Touches, which is the game with you're painting pictures and you're putting transparent cards of layers together to paint pictures. We like that game a lot, so it'd be good to see what the third expansion brings. There's Wonderland's War. Now, some of these games I'm saying are this year. For all I know, they could well be 2024 at this rate. But Wonderland's War, Shards of Madness, small expansion to that, but it gives everyone a chance who didn't back the original with all the deluxe chips and everything else. Did you back?
I'm one of them. Yeah. You talked about it so much that we went ahead and backed it when the expansion came out. We're kind of hoping that if the expansion doesn't arrive this year, at least the base game will.
Are they doing split shipping?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I know that previous Kickstarters from other companies have done that before.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping maybe since they already have the game.
Yeah.
They don't have to do anything. So we'll see.
So we backed Mosaic, which had an expansion, but we went for the Colossus all-in mega stupid pledge, which is shipping any minute as the base game. And you've got this game, and give me good positive vibes.
We have the Sphinx edition, which is one step below the Colossus. It doesn't have all the miniatures, but it's an amazing experience.
I love a Civ game.
So I think it's hit the table 4 times, and we're only 16 days into the new year.
You're playing it 2-player.
We are playing it.
That's positive because it's such. I think I said last time it's such mixed reviews, so it's good. Mm-hmm. There's a Heroes of Normandy expansion, which I didn't write the name down for, but that's one of those games which is a skirmish board game with counters that I'm so deep into backing it on Kickstarter. This might be the 6th that I now can't back it. And maybe we should. I did look through a list of episodes earlier about the whole FOMO and when you should or shouldn't back. But I've got everything, and it and it's a problem.
You have to have everything.
You can't because it's such limited print runs that you can't not have everything. But it's a great 2-player. I mean, I play a two-player skirmish game. One of my favorite games of recent years has been Maglev Metro.
A lot of people have talked about it. I have not played it, but
highly recommended.
Okay.
Again, you got these tiles that have got different train tracks on them. You're building your passenger network to move your robots around, but there's an expansion with mechs and monorails. I cannot wait to try those, which I believe is not far off. Tangarden, Seasons, Western Legends, big box.
Oh yeah, Tangarden.
Seasons. Is it Seasons?
Yeah.
I think it's Seasons. Yeah,
Seasons. But it's Seasons, and it's a big box that's going to hold everything.
Yeah, I love it. I love Tangarden. So it's very simple games. Nothing
Tangarden
new,
is so good,
but it's very good. very zen.
And did you say Western Legends?
Western Legends, big
you did.
box. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which is a problem. So any listeners, I've moved all my big boxes out of my Kallax up to the spare room because a big box takes up 4 good old Ticket to Ride size boxes.
Yep.
So I've had to make a stand against big boxes and they get shunned to the spare room. I then take a photograph of that shelf and print it out and put it downstairs and attach it to the side of the Kallax so I don't forget all the big boxes we've got upstairs.
So it's interesting. You told me you were going to do that. And so we picked up a 2x4 Kallax.
Okay.
And we moved all of our big box games upstairs.
I set a trend.
But check this out. So when you walk into our house, the first thing you see is a Kallax of all the big box.
They're all wow
games.
boxes, aren't they? They're wow boxes.
Yes. And then all the games are downstairs.
I'm going to suggest this idea to the other half in a minute. Yeah, I know what the response will be, but and the final 2, Honey Buzz, which
Honey Buzz.
We didn't back, and then I played it and really enjoyed it, so we backed that, and that's quite slow coming actually.
That's interesting. So just recently, Jamie Stegmeyer did a Honey Buzz Realm card for Rolling Realms.
Yeah.
And I've never played Honey Buzz, but I really enjoyed that Realm card.
I think you like Honey Buzz.
Yeah.
I think you'd like it.
Yeah.
And the final one is a game called Unfair. You ever played Unfair?
No, but I've seen it.
Yeah, so it's basically you're running a theme park.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have an issue with conflicts or upsetting your neighbours, then Unfair is not for you. And it's also like event cards, which is generally unfair. But thematically, building your theme park, building your roller coasters, trying to build and construct the best theme park, it works a treat, and we love it. Absolutely.
But if you don't like Take That, Take That, there's
you can buy Fun Fair, which removes all the mean bit, but the mean bit is what makes it outstanding. It's good. It's really good.
That's not. I think for Katie and I, it would be
Fun Fair. Yeah. You need Unfair. So that's So there's a lot of expansions due, and there's a few smaller games I didn't write down, but there's plenty of new stuff coming this year. We know that.
There is indeed a lot. We decided not to back Tiny Epic Crime.
I didn't back it. First one I have never backed.
I think we'll be able to get it. Maybe a Gen Con.
Yeah.
Gameland's really good about when they put out a new game, they have it featured at Gen Con. So
I'll wait and see.
How about conventions and expos? Anything you've got planned for 2023?
We've got UK Games Expo planned, which is always the back end of May. At 1 year, I would love to go to Aircon, but the timing clashes with various birthdays and just isn't. It's always the wrong weekend. But that's the one I look at in the UK that always goes. I love to get there.
Now, hold on. Tell me, you're saying Aircon?
Yes, how I pronounce it. AIRE Con.
Okay.
How do you pronounce it?
No, that's right. I don't know that. Can you tell us a little bit about where it's held?
It's in northern England.
Okay.
I'm going to say north of Leeds off my head, but my geography might be wrong.
Okay.
It's, I don't know how many years it's been running, but it's got a great reputation for just meeting up and hanging out and playing games. Less of the whole trade hall. There are some shops there, but it's much more meet and play games.
Okay.
Which is the best thing I like about UK Games Expo. I'm not so bothered about the trade hall. Well, I like to buy a few games. Generally, it's the bring and buy and meeting up with the Instagram community and hanging out for 4 days. So, we've not been to that one. There's HandyCon, which I think comes back this year, which I think is more London way. There's lots of little conventions. GridCon, which is down Devon direction. So southwest of England, that sells out really quickly. It's actually quite close to the office that I work at. So there's lots of small conventions which I'd love to get around, but life is just busy.
What about Essen? Any possibility?
I committed to Nick Board Game Review UK that I'd go with him this year.
Okay.
So we need to plan that. I think the dates are okay. We did have a work event on, and I told the work event they had to move. They had to move and not book that week for an event we do around the country. So
can you just imagine that? Excuse me, boss, but you're going to have to reschedule that event. We have a gaming convention.
Yeah, I didn't make out. I just said that weekend I'm busy. I don't think I'd go for 5 days. I think I'd go for the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, fly in, fly out, do what you got to do.
Well, what's interesting is I was looking from where you are with now that you've got the channel. That's like a 7-8 hour drive.
Oh, driving's fine. Yeah, drive or fly. I mean, driving is better because you get obviously the space. The only challenge I've got is electric car. Adds a little bit more planning to the schedule, but Europe's pretty well wired up for charging cars these days.
Excellent.
So shouldn't be a problem. And the other thing is, there's no doubt a few Instagram community meetups that we have 2 or 3 times a year. So I'm not sure there's one planned at the moment, but there will be at some point. How about you? Isn't there a small one that like you host? You have a special name for it. Don't you host something once a year? Do I? Boardgame MeepleCon. I've made that up. Meeple to Meeple UK Con. There we go. Meeple to MeepleCon. Wow. M to M. Yeah, we do things here. I don't think it's got a name. There was like FloodCon 2, which we... FloodCon, that was it. FloodCon was, there was a convention over here that flooded. I mean, the worst thing possible is a board game convention that then the roof comes in and floods but above everybody, and people are scrambling to move their board games. So we decamped the hotel and moved in here. But I mean, with that and the Southampton group that we've now got, which I talked about last week, there's so much choice. In fact, I'm spoiled for choice. Now you must be doing Gen Con, I assume. Yeah, so we've committed thus far. We're committed to Geekway to the West. How far is that? It's in St. Louis. Okay, cool. It's similar to AirCon. It is almost exclusively gaming. Yeah, brilliant. It's a massive open gaming area. They've got a big games library. They've got a thing where you go into the games library, you check out a game, you come back, you fill out a little 3-question questionnaire, and then that gives you an entry into winning that game. Wow! As part of a drawing at the end of the weekend. Now it's not their entire games library. Certain games. But yes. So they're like, that's really cool. Yeah. And there's like a row of tables with vendors. It's not much. It's all about gaming. It's at a smaller convention center. It's not even in St. Louis. It's in St. Charles, which is just across the Missouri River, but it's like an hour and a half from here. So easy. We're gonna go. We're gonna go for 2 days. It's a 4-day convention, but we're just gonna go for 2. Squeeze that in. That'll be nice. And the games library. We've already looked at the games library. My wife and I. We've already written down all the names of the games we want to play. Because one of the things I liked about Gen Con was the games library. I got to experience games that I had not before. Yep. And since then, I think we've purchased a few of them and added them to our collection. But you have an extra, there's an extra fee at Gen Con. With Geekway, there isn't. And the games library is housed at Miniature Market in St. Louis. Nice. Loads of choice. Yes, loads of choice. So we're going to do that for a couple of days. Then we'll meet up with a couple of local Springfield group who they go down there. They kind of set themselves up in the corner and they just play amongst themselves. So we'll join them for 1 or 2 games and then we'll do our own thing. Any listeners who are going to go to Geekway to the West, let me know. Send me a DM. I want to meet up with you. There's a question mark about Origins, which is usually the second weekend in June. Yeah, so it's a couple of weeks after UK Games Expo. We couldn't go last year. We were thinking about going this year. Origins is much bigger than Geekway, but smaller than Gen Con. So it's kind of a nice balance between a vendor hall and gaming and events. So we're thinking about that. And that's in Ohio, which is about 6 hours from us. And then, of course, we are going to Gen Con. Tickets go on sale
in a few weeks, and then the housing portal opens in February. So we've learned a lot of lessons from last year. I think we've already got a game plan, kind of a rough schedule of what Gen Con's going to look like. So we're excited about that.
We should do a refresh of our what you do to go to a gaming convention. Maybe an anniversary show. That was our first episode.
Yeah, that was our first episode, yes.
Right, yeah.
And then last is I'm thinking about PAX in December. The challenge is it's so close to the holidays.
Yeah.
Lots of but Folded Space, so after we had our interview with Richard, they put out a call. They were looking for people to work their booth at PAX.
It'll be brilliant.
They had a really good reimbursement deal, and I regret not going because I could have taken a direct flight from St. Louis to Philadelphia, and I wish I would have gone.
Both go.
So I think I'm going to do that because the beauty is, they pay for your lodging and your food. They give you an 8-hour window to explore the vendor hall yourself. In the evenings when you're not working, you're free to game with everybody.
It's pretty good.
In the community. And they have a stipend, travel stipend, which is reasonable. So,
is it just you going? Or would you both go?
No, that would just be me. That would just be me. I think that's a little much for. Yeah. And I don't know how many people are looking for. I am looking forward to. This is kind of convention adjacent. I'm really looking forward to Folded Space being at Gen Con this year. Hopefully getting to meet Richard face to face and
awesome.
pick up some foam inserts for some games. Nemesis and Ark Nova are in desperate need of inserts.
I've added the Twilight Imperium one.
Yes.
I made that while I was off on Christmas when I was feeling poorly, got made. And then I realised that they made it to include, they did the one for the expansion. But without the expansion, you've got a hole in the box. I had to buy the expansion, Folded Space, just so that it filled properly. And I haven't got the expansion yet. So now I need to buy the expansion, clearly.
We've done that before where we bought the insert for a game from Folded Space to include the expansion.
There's a whole scheme going on that it just makes you want to, be in bed with the publishers.
Hey, Richard knows what he's doing. So
and it was very easy to build and works a treat. So it was a perfect example. Any other highlights or?
We've got a couple of work trips lined up.
Have you?
We had a couple of work trips lined up. We're going to be going to a work conference in Chicago, so that'll be exciting. Spend a couple of days, and that's like just hop on the train.
Do you get some free time to hunt down some board game cafes or meet up some Instagrammers? Yeah,
absolutely. But the big one is I'll be in Washington D.C. for a work conference. I've never been to Washington D.C.
Oh, when's that?
That is in July.
Wow, summer.
2 weeks before Gen Con. Yeah. That's going to be exciting. So
I sit there on Google Maps and I mark out all of the board game cafes and good board game stores for the hotel and then work out my logistics. Now, I mean, I'm in the Netherlands next week, but there is no downtime. In and out for 2 days. Otherwise, I would have tried to meet up with some of our pals on the Netherlands, but that'll have to be next time.
Right, because you got Mostly Solo she's in Rotterdam, right?
Yeah, which is about 20 minutes from the office. Which is not far. Yeah, but we have a full-on itinerary. So there is no pleasure. Flying in, flying out, and a couple of meetings. Good times.
Good times.
Well, I'm looking forward to 2023. I'm quite excited. There's so many new games. I think we should cover the episode of what to cull or not to cull, because I'm going to need to find some space on the back of this.
That's a really good idea because we've spent, by virtue of a federal holiday today, I was off today, so we had a 4-day weekend.
Beautiful.
We have already culled some games, set them off to the side for the purposes of being sold at a used game sale. We played a game this weekend with our gaming group. They didn't seem to enjoy it, so we're like, we should probably just get rid of it.
Yeah, I do that. There's a few games I test and go, it's just not going to get played. So, but let's do an episode on that one. So, if anyone's got any games that they like to know more about out of that list, especially if they start to arrive this year, please do let us know. either in the comments or as a direct message. And we'll be back next week for another episode.
That's right. So thanks again for listening, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Please subscribe, and we love to hear your thoughts and ideas, so please leave those in the comments. And you can also chat with us both via Instagram at Meeple to Meeple. Thanks.